Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that I have to start you off this morning is going to start your Friday off delicious. Because we have got the ATF being called on the carpet, magnificently so, in the halls of Congress in a committee by a member of the Heritage Foundation. Everything is linked in the description box below. This is a 5-minute video which I cut down for the highlights that I want to show you guys, because this is what I need to see a lot more of in the halls of Congress, because this is incredible. And if you are new or you're a returning viewer, please consider hitting that like button, making sure you subscribe to the channel and turn the notification bell on. We need as many people as we can to get into the fold with us, so share information like this and pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation. Thank you so much in advance for your consideration, and we have got to hit this. This is fantastic. Without much more ado, let's get it. This is the first clip of 3.
Unfortunately, ATF also has a habit of turning into its worst self when left unsupervised by Congress for extended periods of time. And that's a problem, because at its worst, ATF tends to use its vast and often unchecked regulatory powers to accomplish through agency rulemaking the very types of unreasonable and unconstitutional gun control measures that elected officials couldn't accomplish through the democratic process.
That is massive, because I believe this woman's name is Amy Shearer from the Heritage Foundation. She just came out and openly called what we have said for a very long time on this channel and in the gun community as a whole. The executive bureaucracies are overreaching their constitutional bounds. They are overreaching the confines of Congress. They are usurping the power of Congress through executive rulemaking. This is done through many things we've talked about on this channel and on Second Legacy with Tim. The rulemaking process through Chevron deference is where the problem lies, and that's what she's getting to. But now, let's jump to the second clip, because like I said, this stuff is gold.
As Mr. Bosco explained, ATF also told potentially millions of American gun owners that despite a decade of ATF assurances to the contrary, their pistol-braced firearms were actually heavily regulated short-barrel rifles. And if these gun owners want to keep their pistol-braced firearms without immediately being branded as felons, they'd have to register each gun with the government and pay a $200 per gun tax. Otherwise, yes, the ATF is coming for their guns. In another recent rule change, ATF decided that Congress hadn't given it enough regulatory authority and decided it would rewrite federal law altogether. Whereas Congress said ATF could regulate firearms, anything readily convertible into firearms, and the frames and receivers of firearms, ATF told gun owners that actually it could, without any supporting statutory authority, also regulate almost frames and almost receivers.
So she hit a lot of things there, all the way from the new pistol brace rule, which would make you a felon overnight and would make a pistol brace a SBR underneath the NFA, which is a tax stamp item, or you're going to prison and a fine. But she also hits on ghost guns, and she even hits on some very key language, readily readily convertible, and changing the definitions of frames and receivers. She's holding nothing back, and she's hitting on some incredibly important things, laying it directly at the feet of the Congress critters, as a lot of people like to say in my comments field below. This is what we need to see. The more of this information that hits the fan, the more it can permeate the halls of Congress, and maybe someone actually do something to curtail the ATF's abuses of their power and the usurping of Congress. But now let me show you the last clip, because she was not done. She did pretty good in this interview.
To be clear, Congress should not undermine ATF's legitimate efforts to enforce federal law and stop violent criminals. But it should absolutely step in to restrict ATF's discretion as to where it should focus its efforts and how it should wield its vast regulatory powers. It can and should consider statutorily undoing ATF's recent and not so recent attacks on the Second Amendment rights of peaceable Americans. You've asked us today, when is enough enough? How long, O Lord, will ATF continue being its worst self at the expense of peaceable Americans? Respectfully, the Constitution provides a clear answer. It's enough when you say it's enough, and it will continue until you do something to stop it.
That is such a powerful way to close, because the executive bureaucracies are beholden to Congress. They cannot continue to do these usurpations without congressional approval or Congress looking the other way. They were just called directly out. They were told they should probably get rid of that ATF pistol brace rule. Current infringements and previous ones where she was talking about the different definitions of shooting sports and purposes that the ATF has been manipulating. This was a really dynamite hearing. The entire thing is linked in the description box below if you want to watch the entire 5-minute clip. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.